Good morning. Excuse me as I'm trying to work on getting my twist back in. Of course, I told you I'm not here to be cute with y'all, but I am here to be real. And my comment this morning just relates to waking up and seeing some things. As there's some people I've been wanting to name names and call them out. They've chose to just beat down those of us who have been out here trying to fight. Gosh, our entire lives. I've been at this fight since 1986, a year before I got married in 1987, a year after I graduated college in 1985, and had left a big university where you could just see the liberal influence, but at the same time you saw that if you knew what you were doing, you could hold your own power if you chose not to be swayed by crowds. And so I always stood my ground and against things. I started a campaign called War Will Abolish Racism if we try. And, we didn't have the kind of internet resources and things you all have right now. So paper banners and going to events. And then by the time email started up in, I don't know what years that was, the internet came full on board and started having those capabilities. But I know that by 94, 95, so that's about 10 years later, I was full on in these super deep email chains I mentioned, I think, in another video. But so not to repeat that video, what I'm getting at is there's persons, Felicia, Sunny, Amanda, Angela, and others, but those four just stand out to me because I admire those four women in being young enough to be my daughters, and as strong as they are in the fight for American conservative values and trying to define what those are, because conservatism has just been thrown under the bus and left disregarded by even Republicans who would want to tell you that they carry conservative values, but they don't follow and believe in the utterness of the conservative principles and things. So if you've noticed my my Twitter profile, it's always said that I rail against all of the parties, Republicans, Democrats, any of them. I'm not a party line person, but point of this is, we've had to vote party line for these last 32, 33, 35 years. The choices were very limited into where you could go to get some type of representation that meant something better than what the Democrats were dishing out. Take that as a weak excuse, take that as lame, or we didn't do as much, we. They're pitting, these four ladies particularly are pitting the generations, and they're pitting generations, so age-wise, and then they're pitting race against each other in the Conservative Party. And what's the point? What is it going to benefit us to fight ourselves? Sonny started off with a post this morning talking about how Republicans win. How Democrats win because they unite behind their causes, and no matter what, and they've got now, the most radical person coming up in the ranks. To sit there out of one tone and say that the reason that the Democrats are so successful at what they do, whether or not they are doing the right thing or not, is because of the fact that they stick together, they rally together, they will fight their cause no matter what or who is defending that cause. And then you guys are the ones right out here on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook turning on your own conservative thinkers, turning on the ones trying to learn it, beating them down for asking you questions about what does it mean to be conservative, or and what good is that going to do us as a group then who is trying to defeat this whole other awful entity? So why don't you all practice what you preach? If you're going to go balls out and not like anybody like me, then be that way. But if you are not, and you're looking to see a party form that needs massive support, we're losing our leaders like Herman Cain and those passing away. got defeated anyway by the John McCains of the world. I can't stand that man. And now put that on record for Arizona and what he did to destroy us here. It's been horrible. But come on now, ladies. Stop. Get your bases to want to unite with Candace Owens or anybody else who's putting out the right word. You guys, we are doing ourselves no good, and especially splintering along race lines. We're black and we're the real conservatives. You white ones are not the really conservative. And then don't you dare let us coons get in there for y'all to start talking about, huh? Just give me a break. Where is that going to do us? Do you see that uniting us so that we're going to be like the Democrats then? And win in November? Oh, man, you know? You're not, you're not, you're not the only ones been fighting this fight. You all are new to this fight as a matter of fact. And so you need to know that you're new to it, okay? And you're not going to be beating down me and my generation for what we did, because I tell you what, you wouldn't even be sitting here online right now today with any of what you got to say or do if it weren't for me, my generation, and keep on going back. So why don't you all take a new tone and try to bring conservatives together so we can win and maybe start to look at forming a third party. And we'll stop listening to these Republicans who want to tell us that splintering off and creating a true group of independent conservatives is it's not the right thing to do. Stick with the two parties because it's easier to have one vote or the other. That is the most ridiculous answer I've ever heard out of the Republicans. But then again, that's who they are, and that's who they always have been. Thank you, John McCain. Hey, I'm from Arizona, born and raised. Been here watching him the whole time. These are my opinions. But when he stepped in to destroy the Tea Party, I knew then we had no one on our side. There was certainly no one on the side of the conservatives once the Tea Party was torn down. You guys laughed at the Tea Party. You laughed at us because we knew that when Santorum brought that out there, basically calling us together under at least the first simple principle of being taxed enough already, and he saw that they were trying to start using government and take us down from the financial specter, and they got in. You laughed at the Tea Party and its efforts, and the greats are falling. Rest in peace, Herman Cain. You don't know their message. You don't even know their message. You laughed at it. You're still not interested in hearing it. So, while your common conscience don't think that there's haven't been some giants. Those who brought us down in the Republican Party were determined and strong and supported by the Democrats. And they were led by John McCain. And for him to bring down Sarah Palin under a pretense that she was going to get, and for her, to have bought it, come side with us. We'll get you guys what you were looking for. Ruin Herman Cain's reputation. I don't care if the man had a personal life. It had nothing to do with how he stood on his platform for the values that Black people especially needed to be focusing on in America, which is how to have management over your own life with government intrusion as little as possible. The message was basic and sound, still is. but you have to want to work hard, and you want to have to, do things. And you have to also have temperament. You have to have capability of having self-control and getting along even with people who still disagree. I have no voice. I have 1,000 followers. But you know what? I'm going to get my word out to you guys. Somebody's going to hear me, okay? And we're going to do something about this. And we're going to see change before my lifetime is over. I'm strong. And unless God wills that COVID take my life, I am going to be here in this fight. And I want to see something happen so that my grandbabies and my great-grandbabies have a chance, an opportunity to see what this place called America was like. I didn't sacrifice enough for the fight. That's all it comes down to.